Imagine if you could build a cooler right at home for just 10 bucks, one that doesn't just match but actually outperforms the $300 high-tech gear you see in stores, using the same principles NASA engineers use for spacecraft. Sounds impossible, right? Well, get ready, because today on Boring Economic Update, we're going to break down the science, economics, and the step-by-step process of building your own NASA-grade cooler for less than the cost of a large pizza. Now, before we get started, if you're the kind of person who loves learning about the surprising ways everyday stuff can outsmart expensive technology, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty of odd and fascinating updates coming your way every week. Let's get into the story. This all started when a group of NASA engineers were challenged to find solutions for keeping spacecraft instruments cool while exposed to the brutal environment of space. Most regular coolers rely on ice, insulation, and maybe even a little bit of high-tech marketing. Think of those big-name brands showing off ice that lasts for days. But in space, there's no ice, no water, and no atmosphere. Just radiation, vacuum, and massive temperature swings. NASA's solution? Forget high-tech computers and think low-tech physics. They turned to materials and designs that ancient people used, like clever layering, reflective surfaces, and phase-change materials. So, what if you took those ideas and applied them to your next tailgate party, fishing trip, or even just your daily commute? Turns out, you don't need to spend a fortune. If you've got a dollar store, a hardware store, or even just some cardboard boxes and those free materials people leave at the end of a yard sale, you can pull this off. Let's break this down. One of the biggest discoveries in thermal science is this. Most heat loss in any cooler is not from the top or bottom, but leaks through the sides. And most coolers do a poor job of stopping it. Companies will invest millions to design new shapes or slap on extra layers of plastic, trying to slow down this process. But NASA beat the heat with something anyone can get, reflective insulation. You've seen it before, those silver emergency blankets they put in first aid kits or the stuff lining cheap car sunshades. It's called Mylar, and it doesn't cost much. Why does NASA use this stuff? Because it reflects away about 97% of radiant heat. Pop into a hardware store, spend $3, and you've already got the heart of a NASA-grade cooler. But what about the inside? Here's a trick straight from the International Space Station. They don't just rely on one layer. Multiple layers of insulation, with tiny air gaps between each, create what's known as a thermal break. Every layer slows the transfer of heat just a little more. If you think of heat like water leaking through a series of buckets, every extra layer means less makes it to the next. So grab that old cardboard, foam leftovers from a package, maybe a piece of bubble wrap, layer them all up, as many as your $10 budget allows. Every layer makes a difference. Now, if this sounds too simple, think back. How did people store ice before fancy coolers were invented? They used layers, tight air seals, and reflective surfaces. The exact same physics. The trick here isn't about branding or high-end materials. It's about understanding where the heat comes in and blocking all those pathways. For example, you could pick up a cheap foam cooler from the dollar store and wrap it with a layer of Mylar, then add a layer of cardboard, maybe even a second emergency blanket, and finish it off with duct tape to seal the edges. Suddenly, you've created a multi-layer barrier that reflects heat, slows convection, and keeps your items cool for way longer than any regular store-bought cooler at this price. Why does this work better than most of the expensive coolers on the market? It's all about physics. Expensive coolers are designed to look good, take a beating, and maybe even turn heads at the campsite. But the pure goal of keeping things cold for as long as possible, that's a different challenge. NASA engineers set out to control for heat at a microscopic level. By combining layers of different materials, each with a different ability to handle radiant, convective, and conductive heat, they stacked the odds, and so can you, for next to nothing. Now, the real twist comes when you throw in a few phase change packs. A regular ice pack changes from solid to liquid as it absorbs heat, just like ice. But if you want to really step it up, this is the only upgrade you'll need. Just save those gel packs that come with online grocery deliveries, freeze them, and use them inside your cooler. Some folks even get creative. You can use salt water or rubbing alcohol to change the freezing point and stretch the time you have. No special chemicals necessary. The math here is simple. You spend $10, put together 4 to 6 layers using cheap or free insulation, wrap everything in something that reflects heat, add a couple of phase change packs, and pay special attention to the seal at the top, and you've got a NASA-grade solution to modern problems. The difference, really, is in how well you put it together. The more careful you are at blocking every crack or hole where heat could invade, the better your results. For less than a decent burger and fries, you're building something based on the same tricks that keep critical scientific equipment cold on Mars landers, satellites, and even moon missions. But the results might shock you, because when you test a home-built NASA-style cooler against a name-brand one, the numbers speak for themselves. Water bottles that stay frosty, ice that lasts twice as long, and all on a shoestring budget. You may be surprised to learn that some big brand coolers have less insulation value than a well-layered homemade box wrapped in Mylar and foam. It comes down to material cost and marketing hype, not physics. On the next stretch, let's get into the build details, specifics, practical tips, and just how you can maximize every penny while packing as much cooling power as those million-dollar labs. So let's step into the shoes of a backyard engineer. You head to your local dollar store or hardware shop, armed with a short shopping list and that $10 budget. The essential goal is simple. You want to slow down 3 types of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation. Your main weapons? Things like Mylar blankets, cheap foam or polystyrene sheets, bubble wrap, old cardboard Ziploc bags, duct tape, and whatever sturdy container you can scrounge up. Suddenly, this isn't just about saving money. It's about outsmarting the big companies using the same science trusted by NASA. First, find your base container. It could be an old picnic cooler, a styrofoam box, or even a thick cardboard box with a good lid. Each has its own strengths, but you want something that closes tight and doesn't have big gaps where heat can sneak in. This is your skeleton, your frame. Now the magic starts. Tear out those shiny emergency blankets or car sunshades, lay the Mylar flat, and line the inside of your container completely. Make sure the bottom, sides, and even the lid are covered. The shinier the surface, the better it will reflect infrared heat right back away from your drinks and snacks. Even if all you have is heavy-duty aluminum foil, use it. Just be careful not to rip it, and double up if you need to. Now comes the layering. Everyone loves a sandwich, and that's essentially what you're making here, but with science instead of cheese. Next to the Mylar, add a layer of foam board if you have it, the kind used for craft projects or insulation. Foam slows down conduction, which is when heat tries to flow directly from the hot outside to the cold inside. If you don't have foam, doubled up bubble wrap or thick cardboard will work surprisingly well. The idea is to trap air, since still air is one of the best insulators around. If you're using a box, build a layer sandwich, Mylar, then foam or cardboard, then another layer of Mylar, and keep going if you've got room. The more layers, the better, as long as you can still fit your sandwiches or drinks inside when you're done. Here's a simple but mind-blowing tip NASA figured out. Air gaps make a huge difference. If you put 2 layers of Mylar or foil right up against each other, heat still sneaks through by conduction. But if you separate them even just a 1/4 inch with some bubble wrap or crumpled paper, each gap acts like a moat for heat, forcing it to leap across an empty space. You only need a small space, but stacking a few of these gaps in layers is what the pros call multi-layer insulation, or MLI. Think of it as putting your lunch in a fortress of mini airlocks, and you're on the right track. Seal up every seam with duct tape. Heat is sneaky, and even a little crack can let warm air whoosh in. If you want to get extra fancy, use some of that foam window insulation from the hardware store or cheap weather stripping around the rim of your lid. That soft foam squishes down and forms a super tight seal, just like the rubber gaskets in expensive coolers. Total cost for a roll? Maybe $1 or $2. Now, let's talk about the chill factor. Ice melts fast if you dump it straight into a cooler, but you can slow it down dramatically with some DIY thermal mass. Save up those gel packs, or even freeze water inside Ziploc bags. If you want to get a little crafty, mix some salt into your water before freezing it. This drops the melting temperature of the ice, so your pack stays colder for longer. Don't go crazy, just a teaspoon for each bag is plenty. If you want to really get creative, fill a bottle with rubbing alcohol and water, about 30% alcohol to 70% water. It freezes at a much lower temperature, so it keeps things colder than regular ice would. Total cost here, probably $0, since you're using what you already have, or maybe an extra $1 or $2 if you need to buy a bottle. Now comes the testing phase. Set up your experimental NASA-grade cooler next to a regular big brand cooler, fill both with ice or your DIY cold packs, and leave them to battle the heat side by side. The results can be dramatic. The store-bought model starts to sweat and drip, leaking cold, and the ice turns to water before you know it. Meanwhile, your multi-layer fortress just shrugs off the heat, holding strong while everyone else's drinks are going warm. If you have a simple kitchen thermometer, stick it inside and track the temperature drop over a few hours. You'll see the numbers don't lie. Your homemade cooler's temperature drops slower, the ice melts slower, and everything inside stays cold, longer than any plain styrofoam or plastic box could ever manage. This kind of experiment is a fun learning project, but it's also proof that NASA's methods really are powerful, especially when you apply them with a little common sense at home. The reason NASA keeps looking for new ways to insulate things isn't about spending money. It's about stretching every material to its limit, using smart layering and reflective technology before resorting to anything fancy. When you see a satellite wrapped up in shiny gold or silver blankets, that's not for looks. It's MLI, same as what you've done with your cooler. That stuff is what keeps delicate electronics running at just the right temperature on Mars, out in the void, or even orbiting Earth for years at a time. It's astonishing that those same principles let you keep a tub of ice cream perfect on a summer road trip. Here's another easy upgrade. If you want even more cooling power, keep your cooler out of direct sunlight and cover the whole thing with a white towel or more reflective Mylar. Every little bit that stops the sun from blasting through makes your inside temperature drop even lower. You'd be amazed. A well-wrapped cooler can keep a picnic cold all day, and you barely used anything high-tech at all. You might be wondering how this thrifty, low-budget setup actually compares when you put it up against big-name coolers with triple-digit price tags. The short answer? Better than you'd expect, and in some cases, better by a mile. In real-world comparisons, your home-built NASA-style cooler often ties or beats many of the plastic or rotomolded options, especially those with generic foam inside. The reason? The store-bought coolers focus on durability and good looks for campers, but your NASA-inspired build is a machine designed purely for performance. Layers, air gaps, reflective barriers, and tight seals, just like a professional spacecraft. Let's keep exploring as we bring this story home because the next part covers myths, upgrades, and look at just how far you can push the $10 cooler without ever needing a single NASA budget. Now, you've built your NASA-grade cooler. You've seen firsthand how simple materials, layered with purpose, can outperform much more expensive modern tech. But let's go deeper because every time great technology gets simplified for the everyday person, myths pop up. So let's peel back the curtain on some stubborn beliefs about supercoolers and get you thinking about what your $10 project is really achieving. People tend to believe that insulation is all about thickness. The thicker, the better, right? Not exactly. The most important thing isn't how much foam or padding you use, but how you use it. Remember, NASA doesn't send half a foot of plastic into space. They rely on thin, well-placed layers with reflective surfaces and air gaps to maximize insulation per pound. Some of the best performing coolers and do-it-yourself circles aren't super bulky at all. If you line up 4 layers, Mylar, foam, cardboard, then Mylar again, each separated by a bit of air, you've outperformed a brick of solid foam twice as thick. This is why you never see a space probe launched with a honking big box strapped on. It's about efficiency, not brute force. Another myth is that premium coolers use secret materials unavailable to the public. The reality? Most use standard insulation foams, basic plastics, sometimes even low-end aluminum lining. NASA's trick is all in the configuration. This is where your DIY approach really shines. Use what's cheap, use what's common, but arrange it with care and understanding. The next time you're at a hardware store, go out and grab some inexpensive pipe insulation or look for packing foam tossed out by electronics stores. These scraps become top-tier insulators in your hands. Now, you might be tempted to throw money at fancy phase change packs, specialty gels, or even portable electronic cooling fans. Save your cash. When you combine the layering and reflective strategies above, even basic frozen water in plastic bottles will perform impressively. Just fill them 3/4 full to allow for expansion, freeze them, and you've instantly boosted your cooler's staying power. Anything else is a bonus, not a necessity. Let's also talk about the forgotten detail almost every manufacturer skips: air management inside your cooler. The rule is simple. The less airspace around your food or drinks, the better. Why? Because air conducts heat, and a big open space speeds up the temperature rise. When packing your cooler, fill empty spaces with crumpled paper, towels, or even spare bubble wrap. This squeezes out excess air and helps keep the contents nice and cold. NASA does the same. Electronics are packed efficiently with minimal dead space. Every little bit matters. Here's something else most folks overlook. Where you place the cooler matters as much as how you build it. Direct sun is the enemy. Even a cooler with the best insulation in the world can struggle if it's getting blasted by sunlight all day. A simple trick that NASA uses is to shield gear from solar radiation. For your cooler, that means slipping it in the shade, using a reflective cover, or even sinking it into a dry patch of dirt to keep it out of the wind and cosmic rays. Okay, maybe just the sun in your backyard, but the principle is the same. People have sent these home-built coolers on all sorts of crazy adventures. Some have used them to ship medicine during emergencies, others to preserve food during blackouts. There are even backyard scientists who launch them in high-altitude balloon experiments, carrying cameras or sensors to the edge of the stratosphere. Built right, your $10 NASA cooler has real-world uses far beyond just cold drinks at a picnic. It's a little slice of engineering that proves how smart design always wins over expensive bells and whistles. This gets to the real economic story. Innovation isn't about spending more, but about understanding what really works. Most consumer products sell you on looks and features, but if you follow the methods NASA uses, layering, tight seals, air gaps, and good materials, you end up with something that lasts longer, wastes less, and saves money. Isn't that what good economics is all about? Making the most out of what you've got, outsmarting the market, finding the value where others miss it. So here's the big challenge. Give it a try. Next time you need to keep something cold for the day, skip the superstore and build your own. Track your results, time how long your ice lasts, and see for yourself that sometimes a few layers of household stuff and a little bit of brain power can outperform a shelf full of bright, expensive coolers. You might just end up with a cooler that makes people wonder how you did it. And you can reply, it's NASA tech for under 10 bucks. Just imagine the bigger lesson here. We live in a world where more technology is being thrown into everyday products, making them pricier and sometimes more complicated than they need to be. But if a few simple tricks, borrowed from space explorers, can turn a pile of so-called boring materials into something that beats the best the modern market offers, what else are we overlooking? Where else can you swap complexity for cleverness? That's a question worth exploring, not just in economics, but in your own daily life. So here's how you can help others kick off their own NASA Cooler project. Just hit like and share this video with someone who loves saving money or a DIY challenge. And if you've got experience with hacky coolers or odd fixes that blow store brands out of the water, drop your story in the comments below. What did you use? How long did it last? Let's see how many versions of the $10 NASA cooler we can get going, from backyards to beaches, picnics to science fairs. Remember, sometimes the most boring solutions are the ones that work best, and that's what turns a simple hack into a rocket science story worth sharing. Thanks for sticking with Boring Economic Update. Until next time, keep your curiosity sharp, your drinks cold, and your budget unbeaten.